We're into what you've been playing. I'm Carlos Macias, Dalan Kirkwood, Luis Mendez. Let's get into what we've been playing. Dalan, me and you have both been playing Super Mario Brothers Wonder, man. And I liked it.
Not together.
But we can. It is online. It is online. So I feel like we should at least try it out maybe once or twice, right? We kind of have to give it a shot, right?
At this point, I feel like you're significantly further than me.
Maybe I might be like in the third world possibly. And I'm critical pathing.
Reached the second world.
And I'm critical pathing. But I will say this: I do like that. You probably wouldn't have had this game had you played your GameFly cards correctly, right? And had you were trying to get what else? Spider-Man. You're trying to get Spider-Man. So you really should be playing.
Been shipped to me. I gotta go pick it up.
You should be playing Spider-Man 2 right now, right? So how has it been? How's the experience been? The fact that you're like, I didn't want this game first. I wanted Spider-Man 2. So the more you play it, the more. Have you found the joy, Dalan? I guess is my question. Have you found the joy?
I actually did find the joy in Mario Wonder. This game, even though I said it before, it's a fever dream of a Mario experience.
I mean, I said it and it's on wax, I feel, but you can take it.
It is.
You could take it. Go ahead, Dalan. My bad.
But as I was playing it, I started to have that feel like, oh, this actually feels like Super Mario World. It straight up gives me a full vibe of Super Mario World. It's telling a full story. It's got that whole overworld map situation. They try to do something new with it. They try to actually improve the art for Mario. And I think they actually did a slam job on it. So I don't know how it is when you have a multiplayer, because I still haven't had a chance to do that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it'd be just as wacky as New Super Mario Bros.
Yes, you're not that far off. But I will say this, so when you played those games, right? If you died, you kind of became a bubble, right? And you shake the controller to get closer. Yeah, was it a bubble? Whatever you were just dead, man.
All right,
but your spirit.
Super Mario Brothers, if you had somebody with you, they die, they come back as a bubble, and you pop them out of it, and they'd be alive.
But you'd have to shake it, and you kind of wiggle around. This one, you can actually direct yourself. You can actually fly into a human, but. It's just as wacky, man. It's something you mentioned before. Why we haven't actually played Diablo 4 is that we all have different gameplay styles, right? We're all playing it at different paces. That's exactly what this is, man. Somebody's like wants to take their time. They're just not as great as the hold down the run plus the jump kind of thing, right? All the little things and quote unquote advance Mario gamer, I guess. So you have that person, and then you have another person that wants to get a little thing, and then you have myself that's like, I'm just trying to get through this, man. I'm trying to get everything possible. But it is a game I think that kind of tugs at my completionist thing without having trophies. This is about the only games that will get me like, damn, I want to get all the wonder seeds. I want to get all the little things.
As soon as you finish a level, you see what you missed. You're like, damn. I can't believe I missed that. I kind of want to go back because I think I know where it was.
Yeah, and they're short enough, right? They're short enough levels, and they're fun enough, and you hit that fever dream of like, where in this fever dream was the thing that I needed? But I'm liking it. There's just so many games this year. I still think it's gonna be interesting how it all plays out for us because there's just so much stuff. But it is a wonderful game. It is a wonderful game. Anything else, Dalan, as far as a Mario Wonder?
Hey man, it's Mario. It's Mario. Actually, there is one thing I want to say is I didn't realize how difficult the boss fight would be for me. I died so many times trying to actually defeat that first boss.
Wait, which one was it? Was it the Koopa Jr. guy? Who was?
Yeah, it was Koopa Jr. Where he would get small and you would get big, and vice versa. Yeah. And I was having a hard time when I got turned into a small one. I was like, how do I get on top of him? Said I cannot jump that high.
It's pretty clever, man. It's really clever. And like you were saying, new animations and everything. I saw somebody online which I was like, it's so dumb, but they're like, why did they make Mario like less masculine? I was like, you're talking about a cartoon man. I'm talking about a cartoon man that to me he's like looks a little more expressive, but it's not over the top, right? It's just like little subtle differences.
You get hit and lose your mushroom, then he looks very dwarfish, right?
Yeah, but he always looked dwarfish, you know. Which I like that's supposed to be his natural form. You're making him super. You're making him super with the mushroom, right? But I'm definitely having fun with it. Well, let's play it online at some point, Dylan. We'll figure it out, and maybe when we're trying to go back and grab some, hard to get, hard to reach type of things. Does the difficulty stars do anything for you? Like, do you avoid them, or you're like, no, I want to do a hard level now? I kind of like that. There's difficulty levels to every.
Yeah, it depends on how I feel. It actually helps me decide whether or not I want to do that level, because I got to prepare myself mentally for the struggle that I'm about to endure.
What's your favorite badge, man? I'm kind of like, oh, you haven't gotten far enough. But
I don't have a lot of badges.
What's your favorite one so far?
I can wall jump and do the straight up wall jump. I got the flying hat. Yeah. But that dolphin swim has been a lifesaver for me recently. But other than that, I like my wall jump.
There's one that you get. There's one that you get that when you're jumping, you get a little feet flurry. You get a little feet flurry. so you get an extra little. It's look.
You get the Yoshi flurry.
I'm gonna say yes, exactly. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Because sometimes it's all marketing, right? And you're like, oh, Nintendo wants this to be an adjustable game or like a customizable game, and I'm like, it kind of is, but not in an annoying way where like, how are you gonna make dinner now? Go grab 3 pieces of sticks and grab 2 apples and then put the dinner together. It's really more like,
you're talking about Zelda.
It's just a badge, man. Give me the badge, and I did the challenge for it. Give me the badge. All right. Anything else before we go into what Luis has been playing lately?
Nah, I want to know what Luis is
Okay, Luis, what you been up to, man?
Spider-Man 2 has been the front runner right now. I did dip into the Modern Warfare campaign, like I said, but Spider-Man 2 is it's good, man.
It's for real. It's for real.
Man.
It's for real. Yeah.
It's I love it took me a moment to get adjusted to the changes in combat because they did change it from the first 2 games. I don't know how much you guys are aware of that or how much you've played of it.
Yeah.
But they simplified it a lot more, but then also kind of enriched it more. Made you have more options to do different things during a fight. And I will say the internet was right in the sense that it is buggier than the last 2, but nothing that's broken the game for me. Nothing that's like crashed or made me have to restart or quit or reload a save. It's just like stupid stuff where you do one of your abilities and you kind of get caught in a rail for like a moment, and then it like
fixes itself. I heard that. Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that where it's like, oh, okay, I guess it just bugged out there for a second.
Yeah.
But I'm playing this one differently from the first 2 in the sense that in the first 2 I would like do a mission or 2, main story mission, and then all right, let me go clean up like the random stuff around the city. In this one, I'm actually like critical pathing like a motherfucker just because I want to see what's happening next. Because the story is that engaging. The story caught me way off guard compared to the last 2. Like this one has a more serious overtone to it, not even undertone. Like it's like fully, you're like, oh damn, this story's like real kind of situation.
but you did notice that from Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales, right? To me, I felt like, damn, the Miles Morales story is like, it feels lived in. It feels like I know it's smaller, right? It's a more compact story, but so it's 1 to 2, and you feel like that's an equal difference of story-wise?
I think so, yeah, I would say so.
Okay, I need to get around to this, man. I'm playing dumb games over here like fucking Gungrave and shit, and I need to get around
but
to
it's
this.
About to leave Game Pass.
But it's about to leave Game Pass.
It's gone.
It's almost gone. It's almost gone. I got a few more. Okay, so anything else on Spider-Man 2, at least?
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting close to the end. I will say that much. I don't know how much further, but yeah, it's Oh, I guess going back to you guys were talking about boss fights earlier for Mario. It reminded me there was this one portion in the game where I played where, well, I guess in general, there's just way more boss fights than the other 2, like a lot more than I remember. So, and there's only really been like 1 or 2 that I actually really got stuck in, and I'm like, okay, it forced me to have to learn.
Have you seen that little image on the internet where the guy he has to sit forward and you have to sit forward on a couple? I was like, okay, hold on.
It was the equivalent of that. Yeah, it was the equivalent of like, okay, I guess I have to learn these mechanics. They're trying to be added now.
Yeah.
But once you kind of get into that, you're like, you start using those same mechanics in your regular sort of just cleaning up a crime happening in the city or whatever. So
yeah.
And there was a section where I just went to the main story, like, let me just do this one and go to bed. And there was like 3 or 4 boss fights back to back, basically. That like before that mission ended.
Going to bed.
So it was interesting, but loving it so far. Really good game.
I like that, man. How many hours are you in? I guess story wise, because it's not supposed to be too long, right? Or
I I don't know, maybe like 8 hours
Okay.
in,
All right. I
something
like
like
that.
that. Probably a little bit more.
I like that. Speaking of length, though, this other game, you're only a couple
Hmm.
hours. What else? Modern Warfare 3? Any? I know you were teasing us a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is it. I remember them. I remember reading something of like you'll have more flexibility, I guess, in missions in Modern Warfare 3. And the second mission in the game, it puts it on full display. Basically, it's like, okay, well, here you go, and just figure it out. Like, figure out what you're gonna do.
You're on the
So,
ground. Go do something.
which can be a good or a bad thing, but it's interesting in the sense that it's similar to basically some of the mechanics of Warzone or DMZ in Modern Warfare, which it's like
I'm already not liking this, man. I'm getting like a sense of
where
like,
you basically you can go in with a loadout, right? Like you'll spawn in with the loadout that your character does at the beginning of the level, but then you can also go around the level and pick up armor plates, loot a weapon, grab this, get something with a suppressor, or if there's a helicopter, go around and like look for an RPG, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it gives you kind of tasks like points on a map, and you kind of decide which ones you want to do first or not. But it gives you the main story point immediately from the jump. Like, well, this is what you have to do. So if you want, you could just go in. Like I did the second time I did one of those missions. I didn't realize the weapon they spawned me in with didn't have a suppressor.
Yeah.
So I shot the first guy. He was where I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm just shooting everybody. I'm not even doing this.
As you do. As you do. Yeah.
So you can do that if you want, but then when I did that mission that way, I realized, oh, okay, like you could actually do this mission in like 5 minutes if you wanted to, versus like the other one that took me more like half an hour.
Yeah.
So it does add replayability. You can decide to use different weapons, play it a different style or whatever. But if you wanted to, you could finish that level like immediately.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna play it. You know I'm gonna play it, man. I gotta play these campaigns. I didn't early preload it or whatever this time around because there's just so much stuff to play, man. There's just so much. And I'm like, I can't.
Modern Warfare
wait
3, Phantom Pain.
I understand, but I will say this: I feel a little icky about what you're telling me right now. Like, I wanna play it. I wanna play it and like, maybe I don't know. I feel a little icky about it, but
I can't say that I like it. So I'll say that much. I can't say that I like it.
Okay.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But it's just it's not the same as like playing those, from A to Z gameplay scenarios in a level where it's all linear and they have these like moments that happen in the level.
Wait, they've called these games, corridor shooters, like you're literally like, it's not a literal corridor.
A story,
but it's like point to point
but
to
you
point.
You don't have that level of polish that the other ones have had, where they have like these beats that you're going to hit, because now they don't necessarily know where you're going to be in the level.
Yeah.
So it does take away a little bit from that. It doesn't feel like a Call of Duty campaign necessarily in those levels. So
it takes away triggered events when you have that open world aspect.
Well, I would think there are
kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Being that like you're going through a hallway, you can't just suddenly get grabbed by a guy and you suddenly be in a knife fight, or some specifically explodes and you're needing to run away from fire or something. You can't have that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about it more, and I'm sure I'll get a chance to play it if I get it in time, I suppose, for the next podcast. But anything else on that, Luis? I'm looking forward to us having a little discussion.
That's it.
Other than that, what I've played, I think I mentioned it last week. I played Signalis, and I said I was gonna play it after the podcast. I did. I stayed up till like 2 a.m. to play this game that I didn't never necessarily even like, man. I honestly was like, it's like going back to Resident Evil 1 sort of graphics. They're trying to go for that, but it doesn't play as well. You don't even really have good weapons. You don't have the marijuana plants to give you health. You can't mix all these things together. So it wasn't great. It was kind of interesting. The graphics were nice. The story was like very indie kind of game. It does do a thing. I hope it's not a spoiler, but it is very Nier-ish, I guess, because there's a point in Nier, right, Dylan? We've talked about it before. You gotta replay the damn game like 7 times, 20 times. Signalis
You know I hate it when you say that, but you can continue on.
Signalis. I'll give you your rebuttal time. Don't you worry,
no, I'm
sir.
not going to rebuttal it.
You can. You can. Signalis, what happens at some point, Signalis, it left Game Pass, so don't even worry about it at this point. But it's one of those games, at some point it ends. Had I not been following like a guide to like, okay, what happens next, I would have been, I'm done with the game. No, it continued. You gotta start it again. And it's not you play through the whole thing again, but it kind of like, how was I supposed to know that I'm supposed to start this game again? It doesn't tell you anything. Real quick on your rebuttal part, Dalan. What do you mean? How does it actually work in Nier? You replay the game.
Yeah, but first off, you do it once as a different character, then you immediately get the next part of the story. You don't have to do it multiple times.
I don't like it, but you gotta play it like 37 times, and I just don't like it.
You don't.
The other game I played was WarioWare Move It. I've said it before, but like Mario Wonder, like let me play with the family, see what they think about it. I did the same thing with WarioWare Move It. It's been a little while since there was a Wario game, and kind of already immediately my wife and my child were rolling their eyes as soon as the game started, because it's like fully voice acted, right, as Wario, which we found out is the same new voice actor of Mario, and Wario is the same voice actor now. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of yucky. It's like 2D animated, but not really that great, and it's just as wacky as you remember it. But a lot of like the little games in it is it's not, like I think the best one probably is going back to GBA, Game Boy Advance games, where it's like random little 2-3 second games. But this time you add the finicky motion controls, right? It's like, okay, move your hips this way, dance around that way. And I was like, this thing is not recognizing it. So it's definitely one of those games that I got it from Gamefly. Tried it with the family for about like 30 minutes, and they were like, do you guys like it? They said no, and I was like, I don't know if I like it either, so it's going back for sure. WarioWare Move It just came out this past week. Another game I've been playing, of course, is Gungrave GORE. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. That one's leaving Game Pass. So by the way, I know I've said it before on the pod, but if you want me to play one of your games, tell me it's leaving Game Pass. I'm waiting for that moment for their, like, it drops on Game Pass, you have to play it within the next week. I'm like, I guess I'm playing that. I can't play Spider-Man 2 anymore. But besides that, I was only going to tinker with it for about a level or two. But I don't know. It gives me like Dreamcast arcade vibes. It's not a AA game. It's not a AAA game. It's a single A game for sure. It's like from they made it in Korea. I think even going back to the original, like I think the first one came out on PlayStation 2 in 2004 or so. It's kind of cool. Gets very repetitive, very fast. But to me, I'm just kind of having fun with like, Grave is very highly detailed character. Everyone else looks like crap. The levels look like crap. Everything is like crap except like the main character. But he has kind of cool moves. He carries a casket for whatever reason, and you shoot and it's automatically aiming at stuff. So I'm gonna beat it, and it's gonna be fun, sort of. But it's leaving Game Pass, so that's the key here.
I'm gonna beat it, and it's gonna be fun, sort of.
I think the bosses, I can at least say the bosses are kind of cool. It's really the same strategy, though, right?
Dude, are you having fun with the game or not?
I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Like, if someone asks you, like, how much fun are you having with this game, 0 to 10, right? 10 being fucking Skies of Arcadia, or Destiny maybe, or something like that. I would say like a 6.5. That's fun. What level do you need to keep going in a game, Dalan? Is 6.5 fun a level enough? No,
6.5 is like, this game is good enough for me to want to beat, but I'm probably never going to replay it.
That applies here. So that's what I've been playing. I'm sure I'll be done with it by next week, and I gotta get to Spider-Man.
Sonic a 7 on that.
I'm gonna play. I still gotta play. Is it called True? It's not called Truant. Jusant. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Jusant. That's on Game Pass. It just dropped this past week. That looks kind of cool. People are out there talking about Game of the Year. I don't know. Whenever people say Game of the Year and it's an indie game, right? I'm like, get out of here, bro. But I don't know. I'm gonna give it a shot, and it's only like 4 hours long, so that's kind of right up my alley. Dalan, let's finish it up with you, man. What have you been playing?
I can't remember if I specifically stated it, but I was getting near the end of Sea of Stars, or I beat Sea of Stars. I definitely beat Sea of Stars. Oh. And I'm bringing it up in this case because I platinumed that game.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
It is very platinumable.
I've heard this.
I highly advise you play it. it is simple enough to get a platinum in it. You really only have to play through the game one full time, and then I went back through the game on New Game Plus just to kill 10 bosses with a specific item, and then I got my platinum.
Yeah. Okay.
And they have a bunch of little things in that game. They are fully self-aware that of the fact that it is a video game. I mean, at some point I saw.
I mean, we are talking about video games here, Dalen.
At some point, I saw the statue from Trigun in there. They mentioned Zelda in it multiple times.
Oh, I see why you like this game.
They have an entire crypt of all the developers with funky little names and all the people that what was it called? Funded the game. You know, the GoFundMe people.
Mm-hmm.
They have a whole crypt of statues.
Humble Games, right? I think Humble Games or no? I think that's what.
Well, whatever it is, how they actually got people to help them develop the game.
Yeah.
They have a whole crypt commemorating people that helped them make this game, and the game was fun throughout the entire thing. The bosses weren't too hard. The enemies were fun to kill. The mechanics were excellent, much like. And I think we brought it up before. Suddenly, I can't remember the name of the game. Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, it's very inspired by it. Yeah.
But again, if you like Chrono Trigger, you will like this game. And this game is not as hard as Chrono Trigger.
I did, man. I did very much. You're gonna love it. I might have mentioned. I hope I did. I played through it on my phone, man. I played through Chrono Trigger on my phone, and it was great. And it was a great experience playing it on the phone. You know, these RPGs playable on a phone. All right. Yeah. Now Sea of Stars, is that up there on potentially shortlist game of the year, or do you still got? Okay, you still got to play a few more games, I think, though, right? You still got to play Spider-Man and finish Wonder.
I still got to play Spider-Man and stuff like that. Okay. And I mean, I'm playing Mario Wonder, but the game, the other two games that I had actually been playing is I know Ghostrunner 2 is coming out.
It already dropped. So I gotta go. I gotta go to this one. I gotta play it first.
You technically might not have to, but the game itself is still fun. I still recommend playing Ghostrunner if you hadn't had a chance to play it. At the very least, play the demo. It started hurting my hands because I forgot the buttons, and it's a very simple game: jump, wall run, dodge, slice a bitch. That's it.
Okay, that's in the manual. Slice a bitch is in the manual. Okay, reasonable.
But the level design actually looks very repetitive and very grayscale because it's like it's I don't want to say post-apocalyptic. It's very cyberpunk, and they didn't put too many colors into it because you're basically stuck in a tower.
Well, and it's made by a small team, right? So I'm kind of happy for them that they had success enough to make a sequel, and it's out. And unfortunately, it's been buried, right? You didn't even know it was out. I mean, maybe you just don't follow the release dates like that, right? But it's one of those things where it's like, unfortunately, it gets lost. It gets lost in the blast radius of everything else, right?
But still, even with the blast radius, at some point, I'd advise people to, for people that love at least a somewhat challenge and a game that has really good game design and fast gameplay. This is a good game. If you're in for story, don't even touch it.
Why'd you go back to it, Dan? Is it because it's just kind of in your backlog or whatever?
It was in my backlog, and I actually enjoy it. It irritates Nicole because they have it in stages, and one stage, it took me 15 minutes to beat this stage, and I died 59 times. They counted it for me. It's one of those games. You can die a lot. One hit, you're dead. You fall off a cliff, you're dead.
That's definitely one I got. I've been. There's just so much stuff, man. It's just so much stuff, and they're all good. Everything is like a high quality, but that's one I want to tinker with before I kind of touch Ghostrunner 2. Even though I know you said I don't have to play it. But what else, Dan? What ended on the last game you've been playing?
Last game, I know Luis played a lot of this game. I believe you beat it, as a matter of fact. I was playing Ghostwire Tokyo, and no matter how many times I walk away from it and come back, this game is just excellent. It's just straight fun to play, and as you progress, you start getting more powers. You get experience to upgrade those powers. I did not know, and I'm going to let everybody know this tip, there are 3 pages of upgrades that you can do. I did not know that.
Wait, what does that mean? You were just on the first page, or not even?
I was just on the first page.
Yeah.
The first page is just your weaving power to be able to.
You're
actually
doing a lot
magic.
of you're a lot of Christianity type stuff right there, Dalan.
In the game, man.
That's what it does.
Oh, okay. All right. I understand.
Fire. That's what it is. But then you go to the next page. You could upgrade your actual equipment. You could equip more beads on your wrist. You got another page. You can actually
I like how it was like you were
down enemies for longer.
I like how you were like it was like Christmas morning to you. Like what? Second page, third page.
Man, I could have used all those points on these other things very much. So.
Is it easy enough to like respec or no? It's like you
cannot respec.
Okay, reasonable. Okay.
So you just got to know there's 3 pages that you can upgrade.
That's a fair pro tip, man. It's a fair pro tip.
And this is actually one of those, Carlos, where I'll say you could critical path to a certain point to get enough of the abilities to really have fun with this.
Okay, there you go, Dan. That's a nice little. So all these you beat in the last week, or no? You're still working on these. Which one are you still working on?
I beat Steve Stars, platinum that.
Okay.
Got working on Ghostrunner, still in like the first quarter of that game, and Ghostwire Tokyo. I don't know how far I am in that game. I don't care. That game is just fun.
You got a nice little potpourri of games. That I don't know if that's the word. I hope it's the word.
I don't think it is.
Carlos Macias, again, the master of what in the numbers.
Originally, it was the master of numbers, but let's make you the master of spices. You've taken that.
Master of spices. Carlos Macias, thank you guys for joining us. Dalan Kirkwood up in the mountains. Thank you for joining me, sir. Luis Mendez on the Wheels of Steel. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys had sort of a new format or something. I don't know. Click the bell. Just leave us comments. We'll make sure to if you hit us up or whatever it is. Well, okay, what do you mean, Dalan? What do you mean, sir?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying click, subscribe, all those things.
What about the bell? What about the bell?
Click the bell for notifications.
Okay, see? Don't be over here doing stuff. All right. Latest.